right, I'm live. 1 second. All right. So let's get it started. We got an upcoming seminar this weekend in New York City. For more information, go to jonahbay.com to buy your tickets or get the address to where it's gonna be. Come check us out. Y'all won't be disappointed. Y'all need to come to this seminar to get a head start on this 241, 242 suits. The seminar is called The Republic Strikes Back. What you think I'm talking about? Be there to find out, all right? We're going to have a meet and greet. What is that? Friday night at the cigar bar. And also we have a brunch jumping off. What is that? Sunday, a Sunday brunch for the people who attend the seminar. So be there. Anyway, I wanted to go into 15 USC 1635. Hold on, I'm about to put it in the chat so y'all could check it out. All right, it's in the chat. It's called the right of rescission as to certain contracts. Now, you know what's killed me? You had a right to rescind even a mortgage, a car note, and everything else when you first get the house and first get the what's the name? You're supposed to use this right to rescission in like 72 hours, right? Now, what are you gonna rescind it for? We're going to start reading it. It's called A, Disclosure of Obligor's Right to Rescind. Shh. Except as otherwise provided in this section. Yeah, I can't stand having a house where my office goes all the way up to the third floor, right? So it's like 40 feet ceilings, some shit like that. So when they talking, I can hear them even though I'm way on another floor, you know what I mean, in my office. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. That's an issue. But let me go on. Disclosure of obligator's right to rescind, except as otherwise provided in this section, in a case of any consumer credit transaction. You heard that? In any credit transaction, including opening or increasing the credit limit for an open-end credit plan in which the security interest, including any such interest arising by operation of law, is or will be retained or acquired in any property which is used as the principal dwelling of a person to whom the credit is extended, the obligor shall have the right to rescind the transaction until midnight of the third business day. Didn't I tell y'all? 72 hours following the consummation of the transaction or the delivery of the information and the rescission forms required under this section, together with the statement containing a material disclosure required under this chapter, which is later by notifying the creditor in accordance with the regulations of the Bureau of his intention to do so. The creditor shall clearly and conspicuously disclose, in accordance with the regulations of the Bureau, to any obligor in the transactions subject to his section, the rights of the obligor under this section. The creditor shall also provide, in accordance with regulations of the Bureau, appropriate forms for the obligor to exercise his right to rescind any transaction subject to this section. Now, y'all gonna tell me when y'all apply for a credit card application, they told you you could rescind the contract and keep the credit? When you bought your car, did they tell you you could rescind the contract and gave you the forms to do it in 72 hours? Did they do that for when you was closing in the house? None of them do it. This is your way out if you're just buying a car or a house. You got 72 hours. You leave with the keys to the house. You leave with the keys to the car. Soon as you leave, you start sending off your letter for rescission, your contract for rescission of the contract, and put it in the mail that day. Because, look, the trick that they use when closing a house, they like to close houses on Friday, right? So Monday is the 72 hours. So you would have to get it out Friday before the business hours is up. But here's the great thing about that. The mailing system works this way. If you put it in the mail within that time, it's considered that it reached there on time because it has the postmark date of when you mailed it. Y'all need to start using this to get a free car, to get a free house, right? This is their law that's saying it. B, return of money or property following rescission. When an obligor exercises the right to rescind under Section A, he is not liable for any finance or other charge or any security interest given by an obligor, including any such interest arising by operation of law, becomes void upon such a rescission. Within 20 days after the receipt of the notice of rescission, the creditor shall return the obligor any money or property given as earnest money, down payment, or otherwise, and shall take any action necessary or appropriate to reflect the termination of any security interest created under this transaction. If the creditor has delivered any property to the obligor may retain possession of it. Did you hear me? Did y'all hear it? This is how y'all gonna get the house. You get to keep the property. This is their rules. I hope you're reading it with me. I just gave you remedy through this law on how to get free shit. Forget about discharging. Use this law to get free shit. You hear me? To get free shit. All right, but let's go on. The obligor may retain possession of it. Upon the performance of the creditor's obligation under this section, the obligor shall tender the property to the creditor, except if return of the property in kind would be impractical, unequitable. The obligator shall tender its reasonable value. Tender shall be made at the location of the property or at the residence of the obligator, at the option of the obligor. If the creditor does not take possession of the property within 20 days after tender by the obligor, ownership of the property vests in the obligor without obligation on his part to pay for it. The procedures prescribed by this subsection shall apply except when otherwise ordered by a court. So, you gonna tell me any of these banks within 20 days is gonna come get that property? Hell no. It takes them months to realize something's going on. This is the catch-22 for y'all to get free shit. Now, will y'all take advantage of it? It's up to you. It's up to you. You can't say you never knew about that. You can't say you were never told. Jonah Bey told you. Jonah Bey read the law to you, right? Now we go down to C. Rebuttable presumption of delivery of required disclosures. Notwithstanding any rule of evidence, written acknowledgement, or receipt of any disclosure required under the subchapter by a person to whom the information, forms, and statements is required to be given pursuant to the section, does no more than create a rebuttable presumption of delivery thereof. So you must say inside your rescission of signature that you never got the disclosures. So this is why you're rescinding the contract within the 72 hours. You rescind it. And you say, you never told me this. Y'all want to say that shit after you getting foreclosed on. You never told me that I owned the house. You never told me I was a tenant in common. You never told me. You could put all this in your right for rescission within 72 hours. They never did. They never told you that you were giving them a promissory note, and that was considered cash money. So it was paid for in full because the actual application was turned into a promissory note. Right? You never told me you would give it to the Federal Reserve or you would give it to the Treasury, United States Treasury, and they would send the funds over an electronic transfer called the SWIFT, and it would be paid for. And then you have me sign a contract saying I owe you and I'm going to make interest payments and all this. These are the things that is required of you to put in this letter of rescission so you can get it for free. And you write in the rescission letter that I've already paid for this house because I gave you a promissory note. But you got to do it within 72 hours of closing. All right? D, modification of waiver of rights. The Bureau may, if it finds that such an action is necessary in order to permit homeowners to meet bona fide personal financial emergencies, prescribe regulations authorizing the modification or waiver of any rights created under the section to extend under the circumstances set forth in those regulations. Now it says E, exempt transactions, reapplication of provisions. This section does not apply to a residential mortgage transaction as defined in 1602 of this title. See, so you're going to have to look up 1602, right, of the title to see what do they mean about it not is exempt. The term high cost mortgage and the mortgage referred to in this subsection means a consumer credit transaction that is secured by consumer principal dwelling other than reverse mortgage transactions. See? So your actual house is included into this law. You can use it on the house that you're trying to get. Right? And then it says number 2, a transaction which constitute a refinancing or consolidation with no new advances of principal balance than due any occur unpaid finance charges existing. So you can't use it if you're refinancing. You already have the house. They're not the actual supreme creditor. Number 3, a transaction in which an agency of the state is the creditor, or Advances under the pre-existing open credit plan if security interest has already been retained or acquired, and such advances are in accordance with previously established credit limit for such plans. Now, F, this is what y'all want to know about. Time limit for exercise of the right. An obligor's right of rescission shall expire 3 years after the date of consummation of the transaction, or upon the sale of the property, whichever occurs first, notwithstanding the fact that information and forms required under this section or any other disclosures required under this part that have not been delivered to the obligor, except that if any agency empowered to enforce provisions of this subchapter insist on proceeding to enforce the provision of this section within 3 years after the date consummation of the transaction, such as agencies finds a violation of this section, and the obligator's right to rescind is based on the whole part or any matter involved in such proceeding, then the obligor's right of rescission shall expire 3 years after the date of consummation of the transaction, and upon the early sale of the property, upon the expiration of 1 year following the conclusion of the proceeding, or any judicial review period for judicial review thereof, whichever is later. So, if you already bought the house, but it only been 2 years, you can still do the right of rescission, right? Even on the 3rd year, you can do the right of rescission, but you better do it immediately, right? Then it says a limitation. Well, let me read G, additional relief. In any action in which it is determined that the creditor has violated this section, in addition to rescission of the court may award relief under section 1640 of this title for violations of this subchapter not relating to the right to rescind. See, I can tell you right now, they'll hand you the paper of rescission, but they won't give you a copy. They got you just signing anything. In the closing, you don't have time to read. They won't let you read. They won't let you take the paperwork to read, right? That's the shit they do on the closing table. You know, I've been in real estate, so I've closed many houses. I know this, right? Now, H, limitation on rescission. An obligor shall have no rescission rights arising solely from the form of a written notice used by the creditor in the form of the obligator of the rights of the obligor under this section. If the creditor provided the obligor with the appropriate form of written notice published and adopted by the bureau, or a comparable written notice of rights of the obligator that was properly completed by the creditor and otherwise compiled with all other requirements of this section regarding the notice. So, what you're going to, this is why I said do it in 72 hours and say, I never got that paperwork. I damn sure didn't leave with a copy of it. They give you paper to leave with when you're closing, and that rescission is not there. They kept it. They didn't want you to see it because you would have time to go home and read it if you chose to, right? Now, there's quite a bit more to read in this law, but we're at the halfway mark. I'm going to open up the call lines and see what's crack-a-lacking. But first, I'm going to play my commercial, and then we'll come back and get to those questions. As soon as I find it, here we go.
Are you dealing with a legal situation? Are you being stopped and questioned by police for no reason? Got you feeling like the deck is stacked against you? You can get everything you need to protect yourself, your rights, and your property at JONAHBay.com. You can learn how to remove that so-called judge from your case with the writ of penitence and assises webinar and template. Get that so-called judge out of here. You can learn how to save your money so you can make money with the Discharge Webinar DVD right here at JONAHBay.com. While you're there, you definitely need to pick up the injunction webinar and template. Don't believe me? Check this out.
Peace to the gods. You're now listening to the sounds of Hindsight Radio.
I want to share a story regarding the injunction. I did the injunction, and I was stopped by the police. I didn't realize it. So he said ticket, and so he went to his car and ran my place, and I literally mean he almost ran back to my car with my license and said, "Have a nice day," and sent me on my way.
What happened to the ticket, though? Where's my damn
no ticket. He sent me on. He told me to have a nice day and sent me on my way. So the injunction does work.
Go to JONAHBay.com.
At JONAHBay.com, you can choose from a wide selection of webinars, seminars, templates, certified documents to get your revenue. He can teach you how to go ahead and get out of debt. And not only get out of debt, but to be self-sufficient where you don't need to go ahead and utilize the system. You are the system.
JONAHBay.com.
All right. All right, we got an upcoming seminar this weekend in New York City, right there in Harlem. For more information, go to JONAHBay.com so you can buy your tickets and get the address to meet us out there. We're going to have a meet and greet Friday night at the Gar Bar for the first few people that bought their tickets, about 5 of them. After that, after we finish the seminar Sunday, we're going to have a Sunday brunch for all the people who attended the seminar. Don't want to miss that. All right? You get to chop it up with your boy Jonah Bay and just relax, ask me questions and all that. Like it's a consultation, but it'll be just an open setting where I'm just conversing with y'all. You know what I mean? All right, so now let me open up these call lines and see what's up with these calls. He says, "Pete Jonah, my sister has a closing in 2 days. Thank you for this." No doubt. No doubt. This is what I do. This is exactly what I do. Some people ask me, what was I reading from? And I was reading from the right of rescission to certain transactions. You have the right to rescind child support too, which I actually have a right of rescission template. I got to tell my son to put it up on the site. I always meant for it, to go on the site and never got it there. Never got it there. It's a simple document, right? And 2 people had asked me, well, do you have one of those and all that? I'm like, it's simple, but yeah, I'll make one. Let me read it real quick. It says, rescission of signatures. I also wish to make it clear that I am not a statutory citizen and make no claim of statutory citizenship created by the state or federal government. I hereby extinguish, rescind, revoke, cancel, abrogate, annul, nullify, discharge, and make void, ab initio, all signatures belonging to me on previous filed SS5, Internal Revenue Service, W4 forms, 1040s, and all state income tax forms, and all powers of attorney, real or implied, connected thereto, on the grounds that I purported consent was voluntary and freely obtained, but was made through mistake, duress, fraud, undue influence exercised by any and all government, state, federal, any agencies or employers pursuant to contract law. All previously signed federal and state forms are hereby extinguished by this rescission. I still got more, but I'm not gonna read the whole damn thing off for you because then you ain't gonna buy it, right? But now you know what I'm fucking with. This is what I'm saying. Decisions of signatures. The one for a house is similar to that too. All right. Now let me open up the call lines. I'm going to 609 630. Peace to the God. Peace.
Peace, God.
Peace, God.
That's dope. That 15 United States Code, section 1635.
Yes, sir. I think it's hot.
Yeah, I lost the truck a couple years ago doing the according to satisfaction. I kind of screwed it up, and you know, when you're trying to do any remedy, man, I've read my contract like 100 times, and that right of rescission is in there all the way in the back, but they don't give you the code or anything. It's hard to find.
Right. And did they have you sign it?
It was just it was mentioned somewhere in the contract, but when you brought it up today, I just happened a light bulb went off in my head, and I just thought about it. I thought about reading that contract.
It has to be in
right
a conspicuous contract. It said, and to give you the knowledge of where to send it and how to do it. They didn't do that in that contract, did they? That means it wouldn't have been short. They had to expand like a motherfucker. It has to be done according to the way the bureau tells them to do it. They don't do it that way. In other words, they have to give you full disclosure. They are not doing that.
And that's the same thing like with child support, right?
Well, child support, you're doing the rescission of signature because, number one, it violated your rights. Number two, it violated due process. Number three, there's no powers of separation between state and federal with child support. Number four, it violates your religion. 42 USC 666. That's the mark of the beast. Even the 4-2 makes another 6.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and on the side note, I got a response from my 8832. I don't know if you want me to read it, but I'm thinking it wasn't accepted or denied. But I'm thinking it's a testimonial. It says, "Dear taxpayer, thank you for your Form 8832 entity classification election. We've updated our records to show your business is a single-member limited liability company disregarded as a separate entity. If you need forms," and then it goes on and just, you know, basically the regular, regular stuff. But
yes, sir. That's a good one. That's the proper response.
Yeah, and I did it with before the enterprises, like when you first told us to fill out the 8832. So now I see where you're like I see why you created the enterprises and everything. I'm starting to see.
Yeah, you start overstanding as you're doing it. You be like, "Oh, I know why." And as I keep on talking, I know why. Now I know what he's talking about. Yes, that's how it works. It's the way I teach. It's meant for you to be doing it after I teach it and while I'm teaching it. You know what I mean? The people who tries to learn the whole shit before they do it really don't get the overstanding.
Definitely. That's just like with the injunction and like with going to court. Like you won't understand until you go to court and actually win a case. You won't understand until the prosecutor backs down. Like you won't like everything you said, they make you think that you're not going to win. And
exactly. Like I had a brother today hit me up. He went to court today. He went in there hammering them for yo, I want my discovery, right? I ain't doing shit without the discovery. So they was like, yo, you're right. We're going to bound it up to state court. Now, he's like, yo, they should have just dismissed. I'm like, yo, you put in the ABA? where you didn't agree to any administrative court? Yes. They had no choice but to take it up to state court. State court is a court of record. Now, when you get to state court, you're going to say the same shit. I ain't doing shit. I ain't received discovery yet. It ain't like the state court is going to be able to give him discovery. It's not like you know good and damn well when a cop stop you, they don't have a warrant and they don't have an affidavit in support of a warrant. So your discovery is never going to be met, which means they're going to dismiss it. It's not going to go past discovery.
So let me ask you a question, God. That's under color of law? Like everything they do.
All of that is under color of law. When I go through the 241, 242 suit, I told them, I'm like, yo, you're going to use that and you're going to sue them for some money. You're going to get paid. They violated. But anyway, wonderful talking to you, brother. I got to move on. We ain't got that much time. Peace. All right, I'm going to 774-467. Peace to the God. Peace.
How's it going, Mr. Jonah? Peace to the God.
I'm doing wonderful, magnificent, and great.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear it. I'm looking over my notes for the question I want to ask you, but on the topic, I just want to say, I really appreciate you just bringing these. It's probably not random. That might not be the best word to use, but it's just like random gems. Like once a week, I find something that's like a gift.
Right.
You're like the Jonah Claus is bringing us gifts. You just told us you can get a house for free, a car for free. That's not typical radio stuff right there.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, I'm processing it right now.
Yeah, and this is the law.
Like,
their law is saying it. Jonah Bey ain't saying it. Jonah Bey is reading the law to you and breaking it down, though.
Yeah. It feels like, it's like the more of this stuff that I internalize, it's like, it almost feels like I was illiterate at one point.
And
it's just like,
I did a webinar.
It's wild.
I did a seminar in Florida. I wish I'd have had the recording of it. And it was called Hindsight is 2020. And I showed everyone in that seminar, y'all don't know how to read. The average American do not know how to read. Listen, reading is comprehension. You don't have to be able to spell no fucking word. As long as you know how to read it and know the true meaning of it, you are reading, you are comprehending. Now, what Americans know how to do is recite the word. We know how to recite the word while we're reading it, right? But we won't have the meaning. We'll have some other meaning that we think it means. And on top of that, we never even ever looked up the word. Every day when I hear grown-ups talk, I hear them disagreeing because they got different definitions of those words. And I'm like, yo, y'all ain't right. Y'all need to look up the words and then have your discussion. Look up the definition, have your discussion after that. See, because a lot of people really don't want to know. They don't want to be knowing.
Yeah. Yep, that's what it really is. I don't even know why I'm surprised. I happen to know. I heard a long time ago, like, just like side note, like in general, Americans have like a second grade reading level because it's like the system is taught to teach us like that. I don't even know.
Yes, it's called the pressure system. It's set up that way. I have a whole show on the pressure education system in the archives. Y'all should look for it and check it out.
Watch that. I'm gonna go look for that.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I would very much like to, because I've been confused about this. I like went to bed at like 2:00. I was cramming last night to try to, figure some stuff out in the archives. By the way, it's a great body of work. There's like 3-hour lectures in there.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Do I need to get my name copyright before I get my DBA?
You can do it before or after.
Okay. I was looking at the DDAs and I've been confused about this. I called the lady at the city that I stay in today. She was very nice. She walked me through it. She said that she like walked me through the forms. You know how they got everything online now.
Mm-hmm.
I told her the business. I told her it was family estate planning,
Mm-hmm.
right? For the Express Trust.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking at the form. It's saying like essentially establishing an accessory business in a residence. I'm just curious. Is like, I think I've heard you say before, you're not supposed to, when doing this stuff, like put your address that you lay your head at. Something felt off about it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think I should keep looking into it? I don't think I'm supposed to
you should always look more into it and read more information on their site about it before you do it. Gather as much information as possible before you start doing a process, so you don't make a mistake and have to do it over. But if you do make a mistake, don't beat yourself up. That's how we learn. Never be afraid to make a mistake. That's how you learn.
Right. Thanks for that. All right. I felt like I was a little. I might not have been really ready to ask my question specifically, but
you might want to get a consultation. Have the form ready for me for the consultation. We go over it together.
Okay. Do you have an availability sometime this week?
Yeah, I do. I only got one consultation to
do
do
have
tomorrow.
Availability?
One consultation to do tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, then. Peace.
Can I? All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right, we got an upcoming seminar this weekend, Friday, in New York City. Go to jonahbay.com to check out the information and the flyer for the seminar. We got time for one more caller, 347-870. Peace to the God.
Peace to the God, Jonah.
Peace, God.
How you feeling, bro? Peace. Real quick, man. I know you're winding down the show. What do you call it? Well, it's not a moving violation, but it's a camera catch on a school district. They say it was 10 miles over or whatever. I think it was a speed trap. I ain't seen no signs or whatever like that. So I'll give you the lineup. The lineup is registered driver. No injunction. I'll roll that.
But what's the question? I said, what's the question?
Oh, the question is, how would you go about dealing with it? Would you do a constitutional challenge for discovery, right to face the accuser, or?
All right.
Yeah.
Do they got a case against you?
Yeah, it's against the car. They got the camera joint, but the camera they could.
You're gonna do discovery. You're gonna do discovery.
Discovery, right?
Yeah, you're gonna ask them.
Just like old girl did last week.
Yes. You're gonna ask them.
Okay.
Show me the contract where it says I owe you if I do this and that. Right. Show me.
Right.
The contract for you having a warrant and all that. It all applies. That's not constitutional. Show me the person.
It's civil. It says it right on the paper.
Yeah.
It says civil.
Show me, for civil, we have to have a existing contract.
Right. Fact.
So you're gonna ask those questions in the form of your what?
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna ask them that, and that's more like interrogatories, but it's still the same as discovery. So yeah, that's how you're gonna go about it. And hers was go back and listen to the show. Hers was a camera joint too.
Right. That's what made me think that, because that's what camera joint.
Yeah.
So she just, because my thing is, who you gonna do a hearing with? The camera can't do no hearing.
Yo, they do hearings. When you object and don't want to pay, they set up. They set up. Exactly. There is no witness. There's no human. It's fraud.
Right. They're saying the camera shows prima facie like violating OCGA, but like nah.
But who do I have the contract with? Show me who do I owe if I violate that.
Right. Right.
Who are you to tell me what to do with my property? Don't the Constitution say you can't take someone's property without just compensation?
Facts.
That's what I'm saying. Now you know what you're going to be asking for in your discovery. Show me, you want me to pay this ticket. Show me where you gave me just compensation for my property, because it seemed like you're trying to extract money from me without just compensation.
90 seconds.
All right, peace, God. I just got to make y'all think about that Constitution and how they violating it. And y'all bring that forward, and y'all are going to win these cases. Just like the testimony last week. It's pretty simple. But that's our show for today. I'll see y'all again Wednesday. Like I said, we got an upcoming seminar this Saturday, New York City on the 29th. On the 28th, it's a meet and greet at the Cigar Bar, New York City. And then Sunday, the 30th, we have a brunch. All right. So I'll see y'all there. Peace. We out.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.